Yo guys, this is Esports Machina, and today I'm going to talk about this sort of a dilemma that seems to exist in people's minds regarding how they feel about prize pools of the tournaments and leagues. And today there was this post, not the first time there has been a post like this, in the League of Legends subreddit that said, "I think it's time for Riot to increase League's prize pool." And he was justifying that a game like Dota 2 and CSGO, games that make less revenue than League of Legends and also have less player base and less viewership, peak viewership compared to League of Legends, have bigger prize pools compared to League's tournaments like Worlds or MSI or the LCS tournaments. And there are two ways to we have to think about this whole subject. The first is Riot's, I'm no Riot fan or apologist, but you have to understand that Riot's effort, how much money they put into the infrastructure in esports is second to none. You have to understand that they run a Japanese league, Oceanic League, Korean League, Chinese League, Garena League, LMS, South American League, two South American leagues, LCS and EU LCS, and then you have the Russian and the Turkish League and the Brazilian League. That's over 10 leagues, which all have prize pools given by Riot, and all of these people, to my knowledge, are also under salaries. Then they also paying the coaches, or they have this sort of a stipend money for the organization that they're giving out. So they're putting a lot more money into the actual leagues and infrastructure than Valve is doing or any other game out there. And yes, the prize pools of the big tournaments is lower. And this comes to the second problem of the issue, which this is theoretical and it's not really fact-based, but we can see certain trajectories and trends that have been happening due to this. So let's talk about the Dota 2 International. So 2014, the winner team was Newbie. And in Dota 2, you have 5 players, in case people didn't know. And out of those 5 players, 2 retired already because they made so much money they didn't have any incentive to play the game anymore. And that's a bit of a problem what comes with if you give too much money. I mean, if the League of Legends would put that skin in sale, the prize pool would be insane. And the first team would be making so much money that it wouldn't matter what they would do the rest of their lives. They would be set for life. Okay? You have to understand that if you're going to give 50 million or let's say 100 million for somebody winning the NBA, what's going to keep them coming back? Not every person who plays in NBA or in League of Legends or in Dota 2 or in CSGO or any other esports game are in it for the competition. Some people are purely in it for the money. And once they got that peak paycheck, they're out. Okay, I think 2 of the Newbie players are right now retired, and 1/3 of the players actually went retirement for 1 year. He might retire soon again. And out of the team that won on 2015, one of those players also retired. How many people are going to retire in Dota 2 in the International 2016? And I think that's the big problem is you're going to have the winner team making so much money, and these are the best players. Imagine Faker winning 5 million on Worlds if he's going to win. And what's going to keeping, maybe Faker might be exception to the rule, but there are definitely some Koreans who would be yeah, I got too much money right now, I'm not going to play anymore. And that's the problem that you're going to create if you give too much money in terms of prize pool. And it's also really bad for the ecosystem. So let's say if you're gonna win 5 million from Worlds, what's gonna the OGN season winnings 100K? It's insane gap between the 2 prizes. It's gonna be meaningless to win the OGN after that because it's no money, right? It's only for the fame and the title. What would you put the incentive? But monetary incentive is gone after you inflate one tournament with such a big crowdfunding. And there has been this issue where a lot of the Dota 2 tournaments where people have been sandbagging because the prize pools are not big enough and shit like that. And it's really kind of sad because every time there's an international tournament or any type of tournament, I want to see people playing the best. But if there's no money in game, and well, it's not really about the actual price point really. It's about ecosystem. So if they have one already, if there's another tournament that pays a lot more better, it's going to create a problem. And to conclude my third point big prize pool ain't gonna make the tournament fucking great. That's what we have to understand, people. The best League of Legends tournament to this date is still IPL 5. How much IPL 5 had as in prize pool? $100,000. $100,000. It wasn't million, it wasn't 10 million, it wasn't trillion. It was 100K, okay? I think the first team took like, what, 50K or something, or 33K? I don't remember. But the problem is, the prize pool doesn't matter, okay? There are people like Rafa who plays Quake. There's like literally one Quake tournament in the year which he practices for, and the QuakeCon in 2015, the first place took 8K, $8,000. That was the big prize pool. He played it because he loves Quake. It is his bread and butter. If you are here in esports to watch the tournament just because they have big prize pools, you're here for the wrong reasons. If you think it's going to be important to have $10 million prize pool and get that sort of like acceptance, but this is the problem here. I think there are a lot of too much people who are trying to find this acceptance from the mainstream media, or from their dads, or from their mothers, or from their brothers, or friends, or teachers, or whatever, to justify them that it's not a waste of time, or it's not worth their time, or you're very insecure then. You're very insecure. Prize pools don't really matter. I think it's important that people, are able to sustain themselves. But it's not going to make... The world's having 5 million prize pool or 10 million prize pool is not going to make a fucking difference. It's not going to make a fucking difference. How to fix the tournament is to make a fucking better format. I've talked about that in the trillion videos. It's really... The prize pool doesn't, a lot of people said that was it 2013 International wasn't a really good tournament, even though it had this crazy prize pool. It's the prize pool doesn't really, it gets a bit of like media attention, sure, but that's lasting for like, they talk about it for a week and then they forget it and then they just go talk about Kardashians again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, And the problem also with the crowdfunding system and the model is, the minute you're gonna make less money the next year, the people are just gonna go with the bandwagon, dead game, dead game, dead game, dead game, dead game. And the reason why it hasn't actually happened on international is because, well, a lot of people don't talk about this ever, is because the Valve added much more like things to buy versus the first 3 years, if I remember right, or first 2 years. So with a lot more things to actually buy and waste money to actually put into a lot of the prize pools. But honestly, I think Valve is taking a huge cut. I think they're taking what, like 75% of all the products today. Only 25% are going to the prize pool. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Valve. I think that is unethical. But I think it's cool, kind of have a lot of crowdfunding. But as we discussed here, prize pools ain't gonna make better tournaments. Prize pools may lead people retiring from the game because they made too much money. And there's no incentive to play if you already won a championship, you already got the trophy. I mean, sure, some people are still going to push it and some people have, but some of the people already have retired who won international. And sure, I mean, that applies to other games where there wasn't a lot of prize pool, but I just want people to kind of be honest with themselves. If you really think prize pools are really important, maybe it's time to go back, to real sports. I mean, it doesn't really fucking matter. I think it's really fucking shallow to think about what really makes good tournaments is prize pool. It's not that. It's really the fucking format. It's the teams. It's the production. It's the game, etc. But I don't need to make this video any longer than it is. But if you have an opinion, like to hear it in the comments below, okay? But anyhow, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.